Hey everyone, it's Kevin here with Views About Anything, and today we have the Jarba Elite Active 65Ts again. I'm just doing a update review about these. I've had these for a little over a year now, and just wanted to give an update on how they're doing, if I still recommend them. Also, how they're comparing to stuff on the market today, and everything else like that. So, if we look at them here, it is a relatively small case, in my opinion. I do have larger hands, but still, it's pretty small. I guess for a very random size comparison, here's a very standard Pilot G2 pen. So they can kind of show you how, it's very pocketable. The case is still doing well on charging it, keeping it charged. I haven't had any issues really to where, besides me using the headphones for an extreme amount of time, that they die or anything like that. There's been some days at work where I've had them warn me that the battery's low and everything like that, but other than that, I can't really think of a time where it's actually died on me. So, one thing is now over time, this, of course, after a year plus of use, this latch has become easier to open. Before, I always had to kind of like squeeze the sides like this, here and here, and open it like that. But now it's pretty easy to where you can just open it. It doesn't it's not bad enough to where like the top just flops open or anything, but there's not magnets holding this down or anything like some of the other options on the market. It's still just a little clip right there. Yeah, there you can see it. There's just a little clip there that mates with that hole down there. So headphones themselves, we'll take them out real quick. If we just look at the case, it's held up pretty well. There are a few, little signs of wear, but because it is a matte finish on it, just looking at it from a distance or even relatively up close, it's very hard to see marks. There's, a couple on the side here or there. I don't even know if the camera will be able to pick them up, but a little bit over there. I do throw this into my pocket on a daily basis when I'm walking around and everything. So these pretty much come with me everywhere, and I also use them at the gym every day. Pretty much 4 to 5 times a week for about 2 hours a day, roughly. It'll actually probably longer than that, probably about 2.5 hours. I do use them in the sauna as well. I've used them in both dry and wet saunas. Normally dry, but it's been fine with even how much I'm pouring sweat on these things. So that's another thing just to keep in mind as well. So looking at the actual buds themselves, they've held up very well. The contacts still are holding up good as well. There's a little bit of pit mark, or not pit, but a little bit of contact mark on them. But from where they're charging, obviously. They still fit great. I've been using these medium tips the whole entire time I've had them. I've never had them fall out. I rarely have to adjust them. I can think on a monthly basis, I maybe have to adjust them once, not even that. Again, that's a variety of different things. That could be, just sweat getting into my ear, and I can feel it, so then I have to adjust them for that or something like that. But like I said, this is extremely rare. I still super love the 4 microphones on these. In total, 2 on each. It really helps with making phone calls, because I do make phone calls a lot with these when I'm walking around and at work and things like that. Another thing I also really like is the, I guess you'd call it companion app, or just the app, the Jabra app, the Sound Plus app. So I've kind of customized the curve to the way I like it. It also just, you can toggle on and off the hear through mode. You can also learn about the headset itself. So if you forgot, like maybe some of the couple button interactions and stuff like that, there's a guide in here that can, show you the different things. It lets you know the status of the headphones, which ones are connected and everything. You have your different sound modes, your different commuting modes, like if you're running, if you're working, if you're on a train, for example, that's what that one is, or I guess travel. And then it has the different music presets down here as well. It does alter the music a decent bit, surprisingly. So that's why I've kind of custom this curve right here. I generally like a little bit of extra treble, a little bit of extra bass, just a touch. I listen to a lot of rock, metal, and rap. So this does well with what I listen to. You can also do updates for the headphones as well. I haven't had one in a very long time. It's been months, but there is the availability to do the firmware update through here, so which is nice. The things that I would have as complaints about these headphones. I would say on occasion, the left earbud, when you pull them out of the case, for some reason doesn't sync with the right one, because the right one is the master. So then you'll put them in and you'll start your music and it you feel off because you're only hearing music out of your right ear and both ears are plugged. So that's one thing. And it's happened more recently than in the past. It might happen once a week or so, which is kind of annoying, but I did find out by researching a little bit online, if you hold the down button on the left earbud, so volume down, or backtrack, or whatever you want to call it, that one, if you hold that for like 2 seconds, it will reconnect it. I've only had it since I found that out. I've done it once last week, and it made it to where it was okay. So like I said, that's a slight inconvenience. It really never happened in the beginning. I would say this is something that's happened more often in the past couple months than the whole year of ownership. And the other thing that I wish obviously they would have done is gone USB-C, because my phone's USB-C, my other headphones I have are USB-C that are over ears. I have USB-C on my laptop, so it would just be convenient, obviously, for traveling purposes, not to have to carry another cord, since most of my items now are USB-C. Even the camera I'm using right now is USB-C as well for charging. So, but at the time it was still relatively new to have USB-C. So there are a new version of these headphones, so getting into the new alternatives. The Jarba Elite 75T. They did make a few improvements to it. The battery life's a little bit better. It's a little bit slimmer. I'll pull up a few images of them real quick. So if we look at a few pictures here, we can see. So here's the buds now. Oh. There we go. So you can see they kind of, instead of the stock style like this, they kind of melded all this together and shortened this up a bit. So right here, in comparison to this, they kind of just shortened this up, melded it together, decreased the height a little bit. Like I said, one of the big benefits is they did increase the battery life on these. I think they get about an hour longer battery life or so. The case has USB-C and wireless charging. And it's also flat on the bottom, so it can sit like that, which is nice, I guess. This one, it can really only sit on its sides, but that one can sit like this. So for the wireless charging aspect, the only issue I have with them at this moment in time is that they do not have the active versions like these. So it's only the regular editions, which I believe are IP657 or might be 67, where these are a notch above that from a protection standpoint. Like I said, since I do use them in the gym and then the sauna, the things like that, there's a lot of sweat being poured onto them. So for that standpoint, I would say that'd be nice for them to have that feature back, or to update them and make a active version of these, because that's just something I use personally now. Not everyone's gonna be super paranoid about that, obviously, like me, but if you are looking at these specific ones, there's they don't have a new version of them for you yet, from that I can see. So you're kind of have to get the older ones, which these have gone on sale. I've seen them as cheap as like $100 on like Amazon and a couple other places. So if you can find these for $100, they're a fantastic deal, because they're just, in my opinion, they're a phenomenal deal at that price. I paid $180 for them, so that's a much better deal, obviously. Almost 50% off. And you might even be able to get them 50% off if you get lucky, finding them somewhere else where they have them on sale, obviously. So, but they still sell the Elite Actives. They still sell the regular Elite 65Ts, which I don't know how much those run for off the top of my head, but I think I've seen them as cheap as like $80 to $100 as well, where I've seen these more around the $100 to $120 range. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But other competitors, I guess you have the Alexa Buds. I'm not super familiar with those, to be honest. Yeah, so these get about 5 hours of battery life, and the new ones get 7.5, so it's actually even better than an hour. Like I thought, it's actually 2.5 hours, so it's like 50% more battery life, and they're smaller, which is nice. They also, let's see, there's the Sennheisers. I do like the Sennheisers. I'm a bit leery of them personally, just because it is a first generation product. Jarba's been doing wireless headphones forever, and they also had true wireless headphones before these. They also did earpieces back in the day. They were one of the original, like dad Bluetooth headset kind of things, or whatever you want to call them, business person Bluetooth headsets. Where Sennheiser is more of a traditional headphone company, so they do, from what I've heard, sound phenomenal. The new Sennheiser Momentum True Wirelesses. So that is a good option as well. They are a good chunk more expensive. This is what they look like here. So they are relatively small. I don't know how they are for like sports and stuff. I think they're just IPX4, where these are IPX either 67 or 77. So these are more kind of just like light water resistance. And also they don't have any type of way to keep them in your ears. These have like kind of like a twist lock system where you put them in and kind of twist them down into your ear, which I've had like I said, very good experiences with. These Sennheiser ones, like I said, are very much they have a custom chip in it. They have really good audio quality, of course, and all this other. This goes on and on, the driver technology and all that other stuff. It is Sennheiser after all, but they are $230 right now. They were $300, so they're on sale, but they're still not as cheap as those, obviously. Sony has a couple pair, but they're a bit big and awkward in my opinion. They're like almost like two of these put together, it seems like, just from seeing them in person, and is a lot longer than these. It's really bulky and kind of awkward looking, both their sports model and their noise canceling version that they have. Granted, if you're looking for noise canceling headphones like this, you have AirPod Pros, and then you have those. But from what I've heard, that the AirPods do a very good job, but they are still ported on the side of them, so they're not going to give you as good of an actual noise canceling as the Sony MX-1000 Mark IIIs. And there's so many other ones out there, it's hard to even, really tell you which ones are going to be the best. Klipsch has a set out that's supposed to be good. They just announced 2 sets at CES. They're supposed to be coming out this year. One more, which is a smaller audio brand that has a lot of respect. Just came out with a couple as well. Bose has some, Jaybird has them, Bowers and not Bowers and Wilkins. Bang & Olufsen has a set that's supposed to be good as well. The new V2s, Masters and Dynamics. Skullcandy, I think, has one out of all theirs that's supposed to be pretty good as well. The Beats True Wireless ones are supposed to be very good as well. So there's a lot of options out there, but from my experience, these are, like I said, these have done a fantastic job. The 75Ts are probably worth the upgrade. Plantronics just came out with a new set that might be worth it as well, since they're a veteran in this Bluetooth market as well. If Sony came out with a smaller set, I would say as well. Audio Technica as well. They just came out with some, I think it was last year, so I'm not, a huge fan of buying Generation 1 products. I've been burned by Generation 1 products in the past, even from reputable companies. So, take all this as will. It's just my opinion. I can, if you guys want me to see me review a specific other type of true wireless headphones, put them in the comments below. I'll try to see what I can do to buy them and compare them to these right here to see if it's worth. Like, I could try and pick up the new 75Ts and see if it's worth upgrading from this to the 75Ts, or I can get the Sennheisers or Audio Technicas or Sonys or whatever. I have used the Apple AirPod Pros. They're very, the case is smaller. It's probably about 30-40% smaller than this case. They fit pretty well. I'm not a huge fan of the stock on them. I don't like having, something hanging out of my ear personally. I did not use them at the gym. I just kind of used them casually. One of my friends had them, so I just tried them out for a little bit. Noise canceling's pretty good. Sound quality's pretty good. Everything's just pretty good about them. Nothing I would say is exceptionally outstanding, especially price $250. There are other options, that sound better for cheaper, like the Sennheisers, or have better noise canceling for like the same price or cheaper, like the Sonys or the Bose, or have water resistance like these, or the Jaybirds, or so there's a lot of, it's a very good, well-rounded pair, I would say, but there are, I just personally, like I said, I don't like the stock hang on my ear. I also don't like that it's a lightning connector for the charging. I think it's lightning connector, or it might be USB Type-C. I can't remember, but that, and also I don't use an iPhone, so I don't get some of the perks like the Auto Connect, other things like that, which really I don't see that as a huge perk. I know a lot of people show it as a perk, but every time I open these and take them out, they automatically connect to my phone. They just don't pop up on the screen like on the iPhone, which if anything, that's annoying to me personally. Every time I open my headphones, it disturbs what I'm doing and pops up on the bottom of the screen and shows that they're connected. But each their own. So yeah, this is the overall 1-year review of the Jarba Elite 65Ts. Like I said, if you guys would like me to see, like I said, I'll try to compare these to other things. If you want me to, like, rate, comment, subscribe. It really helps you guys. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.